Simplified Chaos, episode 182.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Everybody, welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my husband and co-host, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? We hope you all are having an amazing week. We've got another great episode here for you today. It's going to be an interesting one. Jilly, what are we getting into?
We are pausing from our simplification series to dive into life without TV for the month of November.
Yes, we took a month-long break from the television, and the results were pretty interesting. And we're going to share those with you in just a few moments. But before we dive into that, as always, we love to show some gratitude before we dive into our topic. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I am so grateful that my mom is here visiting us in Virginia. We went and she's not a big fan of driving by herself to visit us. It's a 3-hour trek, and she'd rather have a companion or a chauffeur. So we were so glad to be the chauffeur for her. So we came and picked her up and brought her back to Virginia, and she's just been kind of relaxing here. I think she's so used to constantly cleaning up things and taking care of people that it's been kind of nice to treat my mom to a break and hang out with her and show her some of our favorite spots down here in Charlottesville. And we just had this epic bonfire, or not to say bonfire, but fire. Is a bonfire a lot bigger?
Yeah,
okay.
Bonfire was a lot bigger with a lot more people.
We did that in high school, and then
Just had a fire out back in the fire pit.
Yeah, and I smell like firewood right now, and I just love that smell so much. It's my favorite thing. If there was a favorite thing about camping, I'm sure that would be it, just smelling like the firewood. But yeah, she's just reminiscing and telling stories about when she was a kid and in school, and it's so cool to hear her tell some stories that I've never heard of, and just kind of have those moments of kind of stillness and just quiet with her, because Lucille was in slumberland, and
yeah,
it's been so great. And I appreciate Nick, you providing the fire. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
But what
As
about
our
you?
microphone keeps going lower and lower by the second here. I have no idea what's going on. But I am grateful for long, slow holiday weekends. And we're just coming off of one here. So it is Thanksgiving, or it was Thanksgiving last week when this episode came out. So I had off on Thanksgiving Day. We get off the Friday after Thanksgiving, and then obviously there's Saturday and Sunday in there. So it was a nice 4-day weekend, and it was just nice and slow. There was no rushing around, no hustle and bustle. Good times with some friends, and like you said, your mom's in town, so some family. And it was just a nice, slow, relaxing weekend. We had a chance to hit up the sauna on Sunday and just kind of relax.
Yes.
Yeah, no, so it was just an amazing weekend.
Sweat dates. Love it. We got quite a few replies after posting that in our stories.
Oh, did we?
There's some people that were like, that's what we did during the pandemic. The only things that were open were saunas and cold baths,
Cold plunges, yeah.
And they're like, that's what we did. And I'm like, sweet. We're just diving into that club, and we love it so much. And I'm feeling great after doing it.
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit. I'm just I crave more of it consistently. So it's been fun. It was really quite an aphrodisiac to do a sauna with you. I'm not going to lie. Just seeing you sweat, and I'm like, oh man, this is
I didn't even have to do
good.
any work. I just had to sit there.
That's
Even
working
better.
itself. Sitting in a hot container on purpose and sweating your balls off. Seriously.
No, so my drawers were soaked. I don't even know why I wore them in there.
We pulled an Ace Ventura in the rhinos.
Yeah.
Just wringing out our underwear.
We really like that, and maybe actually purchasing one in the near future here too, just to take advantage of it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll have to let you know if that goes down here relatively soon.
The Kaselniaks invest in a sauna. I can see it now.
Now we're only doing a single person, no double, but a single person works.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Gets the job done.
Taking self-care seriously here.
Hell yeah. All right, Jilly. We've gone through pretty much an entire month with this experiment. We really have 2 days left, but we felt like this was a good time to talk about it because we've seen so many changes this month. And what we did was we hid our TV, and we only have one TV in our house. We put it in our walk-in closet and decided to see what happens.
Yeah, No-TV-ember. I was doing it. So I think maybe to start the conversation is to talk about the purpose, like the why.
Yeah.
Why did we decide to do that? I'm sure a lot of people probably can think of many reasons why you may, hibernate the big black box for some time. For us, and I'm with her most of the day while Nick is working remotely in our home. It kind of felt like a crutch for me. I think I depended on it too much. And honestly, I was tired of hearing Lucille said, "Can I watch TV now? Can I watch something? Can I watch something?" And I was like, how do we change that habit? That is the norm. Like, if there's any empty space, that is what she fills it with. And that's the question she asked me. And I was like, how do I get that how do we make that not the mainstream question she asks us when there's open space in our day or in time, when we are at the house? When we're out of the house, it's fine. But when we're in the house, and also she's getting older, she's 4.5, she's getting wiser. So she now knows how to turn on the TV. And I was like,
Sure.
It's going to be a matter of time before she knows how to find what she wants and put it on whenever she wants. And I was like, it's quite terrifying too, because eventually it's going to be more of a battle than, a pleasure at all. And I don't want the TV to become more of a parenting battle for me. And I don't want to rely on it either, thinking that like, oh, this is going to solve my problems. If I want alone time, I can put her in front of the TV. If I want to journal longer, I'm going to put her in front of the TV. I was like, I need to remove that crutch now before it becomes so much of a habit that it's going to be even harder to remove it from the situation or to find another avenue to rely on. So that was my why. And I just kind of asked Nick. Was reading a parenting book at the same time, just talking about brain development in young kids before 7 and what the TV can do and the emotional dysregulation it can cause, and like all of the studies and all the science behind it. And that was like the final straw. I was like, Nick, I want to do an experiment, and I want to get rid of the TV for a month and see what happens.
Yeah, it was pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, there was, of course, like, okay, are we going to be able to survive this? We felt like, Lucille would adapt, and we'll talk about how she adapted over the course of the month. But like more so was like, are we going to be able to help her fill her space, during the day? Are we going to be able to fill the space that we want to fill for ourselves at the same time? But like one of the things we had noticed as Lucille's getting older and as she was starting to ask for the TV more is that she would get whiny more, and especially if we told her no. And it was getting to the point where it was just like the same tired act over and over again. And it was just like, okay, well, what's going to give? And, we've had some success as far as removing certain foods in the house and seeing her no longer ask for certain things. And I'm thinking of like yogurt drinks and some other things that she used to like when she was younger. But like what we found is that if they're not there and they're not in the house, then they're not asked for anymore. So we're like, well, let's try the experiment with the TV. And that's what we did.
Indeed. So we did put it inside our closet, and then it began. And I know for me, I was like, all right, we removed the TV. And I'm like, now there's a giant space where the TV took up that
it wasn't
much
on the
space.
wall. It was on a stand on our, what is that? Just like cubicle
cubbies,
things that house like very neatly organized Lucille's toys, so to say.
Yeah, and I kind of had this game plan. Like, we're going to take the TV off the stand, but what can be exciting to kind of replace what was there? Because now it's just like this blank table. Yeah. And I had this notion that, you know what, Lucille loves playing like dress up, and she dives into like with her ponies and her Barbies playing house. I was like, it'd be really great if we could get some kind of like little dollhouse or something for her to dive deeper in with her imagination and her role playing. So my mom had this really old, actually my aunt had this really old dollhouse, and it had little bears that came with it. And she always is gravitating towards this little bear house when we go over my aunt's house to visit my mom. So I asked her, I was like, do you mind if we borrow your bear house? I think this would be a great quote unquote replacement, something to get her excited, and put it where the TV is. And she's like, sure. So we did bring it way before we got rid of the TV,
Right.
and it just kind of sat on the floor, and Lucille dabbled in it a little bit, not a lot. So it just kind of sat there on the floor. And then as soon as the TV was removed, I put the dollhouse there. I added a family picture of us, and then I kind of spruced it up for me because I was like, I need some kind of positive decor here to kind of like embrace this whole blank space in our life. So I made a little sign. It just said something about play, and I had some old decals that I put up there just to make the space feel complete for me, since I'm weird with aesthetics. Like, I like it to be a certain way. I feel better. So I added some decor. We put the dollhouse there, and we kind of just saw what happened. And
Yeah.
it was quite interesting to see that day 3, it took 3 days.
It was about 3 days, yeah. And really, days 1, 2, and 2.5 were not horrible. Like,
Yeah.
there was the kind of the moaning and the whining and wondering like what the heck's happened. But for the most part, it was just like, okay, we're not doing the routine as usual, but we have options A, B, and C. And in some cases, it was like, okay, well, let's do this. Or it was just like, I don't know what to do. And you can only give so many options before you're like, okay, I'm not going to say anything at this point. It's up to her to figure out. And that's kind of what happened. That was kind of the routine for the first 2.5, 3 days. And then day 3, it was just like, okay, this TV isn't coming back. So I need to figure out something else for me to do. And that's where we started seeing a lot of interesting changes.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned that our pre no TV routine was that Lucille woke up and watched TV as soon as she woke up and had morning snacks on the couch. And then she might have got some time in the middle of the day. And then she always got movies at night with Nick. And we slowly started like realizing that these are habits that we don't want to keep forever. And we realized that it's become pretty consistent and we want to change it.
Yeah.
Like, we were aware, and slowly we started making changes. Like, we started saying, hey, maybe we don't do movie nights every night. Maybe we have game nights or like craft nights. And we slowly started weaning a little bit off. And then I did talk to her about it, like saying, hey, the month of November, we're actually going to be taking the TV away. And first she was kind of just like, why? And then she did a little bit of like, no. But, eventually once the TV was gone, it was like, she didn't see it anymore. There was no battle anymore because there was nothing to battle about because there was nothing there. And I think that was a big difference. I think if we just left the TV there and said, hey, we're not having TV for a month, it would have been so much.
It would have been way difficult.
Really hard because, you see it all the time and it's right there and you're like, it's accessible, so I should be able to watch it. So I think it made a huge difference just to completely take it out. And like that in itself, like, Lucille has dove so deep into creativity land, and it's been so wild to see her interact so much longer and deeper in with her toys, and especially the dollhouse.
Yeah.
She plays with that so much more than she did when it was just sitting on the floor and it wasn't really a focal point. But if you think about it, the TV was a huge focal point on that wall, like that space. It was like, so now it's like her toys are the focal point,
Right.
Things that she can interact with. Her crafts are now a focal point because we now like present almost like invitations to her. I'll open up a coloring book or I'll give her a clipboard with a blank piece of paper on it. And she's immediately like drawn to that. And I knew that was going to happen if we got a distraction out. And I know the TV is this amazing tool and piece of technology, but I think it can get out of hand when it's always there and so accessible. And for me, at least, I wanted to see also what would happen to my habits. Mm-hmm. Being the one that's homeschooling Lucille and is with her most of the day, I wanted to see what else can I rely on if I do want to have some time and space to myself or rest time. And Lucille dives longer when she's in the zone in her creativity land, longer than the span the attention would keep for her.
Yeah.
Which has been like this amazing revelation to watch. I don't know if you have anything to add to that part.
I would just say that one of the other things that we've been doing a lot more, either one-on-one with her or as a family, is games, whether it's board games. But she has become so good at Go Fish and Old Maid as a part, as part of this process. So she's learned some new games, and dominoes. So there's just so many cool new things that were incorporated this month, and she picked up on them very easily. And it's not one of those games where you have to wait 5 minutes for her to make a decision. She's picked it up so quickly. Okay, it's your turn, Lucille. And then she's asking if you have that card and tells you either Go Fish or whatever. She's just picked it up so quickly. And I think it's because she was into it. There wasn't the looming TV in the background saying, okay, I'm done with this. Let's watch some TV or anything like that. So that was just another really cool thing to see, is just her picking up so many new games that we can play. And it's not just Candyland or Ropes and Ladders, which we have in the house. We've expanded what we can do as far as game night or just activities during the day.
And that's, I think the TV was passive entertainment, where now it's now she has actually interactive entertainment, and her skill set is developing
super quick.
Even when it comes to social skills with us, rule understanding, just gaming strategies. It is just amazing to see all the skills that have blossomed because we've interacted more with things versus just sit there and watch them. And I know there's certain TV things that they try to make it interactive, but it's not to this degree at all. And because we're a part of it, it's when she watches TV, usually I'm not sitting right next to her. I'm I'm going to take advantage of this time and I'm going to do something for myself. But now it's when we're in it together, we're all involved, or it's just you and her, and we're having fun conversations, whether it's about the game or just about something that happened that day. So there's so much great conversation happening, and just a lot of skills that I didn't think were going to be happening that have happened. And I think it also depends on your kid's interests as well. Lucille's really been into card games and just games in general. So I think having certain, things available that your child is into, to have on hand to help them dive into that world a little bit deeper, I think that really helps as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely been one of the things. Another area where we weren't sure how this was going to go either, and the one thing that we did not take away this month was her tablet. So she still had access to some screen time this month. And that has also been, I guess, a point of contention leading up to this, with the screen, whether it was the tablet or the TV. And one of the things that we noticed is we started implementing a 30-minute policy on the tablet. And she can have her tablet at any point during the day, whether it was first thing in the morning or in the evening. And she tends to opt for first thing in the morning. And we say, okay, we're setting a timer. We don't have the timer actually on the tablet where it shuts off, but we were prepared to do that if that was necessary. However, we've been just setting the timer on our stove, and we set it for 30 minutes. It goes off, and we say, okay, Lucille, time's up. And surprisingly, no fight, no pushback. Okay, and she will bring it back over to you so we can put it in its spot. Now, would she ask for it during the day to try to get it in? Yeah, she'll, because it's out there, she can see it, and she'll be like, "Hey, can I get some tablet time?" We're like, "No, you spent your 30 minutes," and really, there's been no fuss about that either. Even so, it's led to some other great things. Even in a world of technology, we're still able to kind of use that. But sparingly, and we really wanted to see this experiment through, and the results were just, like I said, I'm still in awe of just everything that's happened, and it's making us think about the future here too.
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk about next steps soon, but I also wanted to add on to that is that I think it helps when you do have a partner that's consistent with keeping certain boundaries. Like, no, the TV is like a really easy boundary to make because it's not there. So it's like awesome. That's one less battle we have to have with each other or with Lucille. But the tablet thing, we realized, you know what? We're not all or nothing parents. We know there's going to be some nuance, some gray in this. So I was like, you know what? I think having access to the tablet will be great. She gets to dive into specific things that are fun for her. So she's still having some interactive time with like specific games. She likes designing like nail stuff and playing with decorating Barbies and on like the games and dressing up. So we still give her this creative side too. That is, I think it's a little bit more interactive than watching TV. So I do like that aspect of the tablet. And just the 30-minute, like I think it can be really easy to be like, oh yeah, let's just have a couple extra time because I kind of want to do this thing longer. Like sometimes when I'm writing, I think about, oh, the timer went off, but I could let it go longer. But you know what? I want to be consistent with this because the more consistent we are and the better boundaries we have, the easier it seems to get. So I will say that sticking to that has been great. Now, is there an emergency situation? Like if I have to run somewhere and I can't bring Lucille? Yes, we may use that while Nick is working. So I think we also wanted to keep the tablet in the realm of things because just in case, in play, because just in case something happens where I'm not here to be as interactive and like be with Lucille, I know Nick may have business calls and we may need a quote unquote babysitter for some time where the tablet is an advantage and we do use it. We also do not control what goes on in anybody else's house. So the TV is not in our home, but if we go somewhere else and they want to watch a movie or a show, we do not say no. Like we want her to still have fun time at her friend's house. And we are like, that just seems really, I don't know, out of touch with reality to be like, oh, I can control everything in other people's homes. Like that's ridiculous. So I think the bottom line was just keeping our boundaries and the experiment we wanted to do in our home only and not trying to like spread it out into anyone else's agenda. Like this is just for our family in our home. That is what we can control and just to see what blossoms.
Yeah, it was interesting that she wanted to spend some more time with her friends who had TVs, and go to their house and like, can we go to their house and not like, can we play outside with so-and-so? It was like, can we go to their house? I'm like, yeah. And she's got her way of asking for things, when she's at friend's house and stuff like that. She's very crafty like that. But, ultimately it didn't happen every day. It was just
no, not at all.
Rare occasion that she'd get in front of a TV at somebody else's house. But yeah, I mean, it was just an awesome experiment, and I couldn't be more, I guess, happy with the results. I'm not shocked by the results because of just some of the experiments we've done with food. But yeah, I mean, it does take some effort, and as to Jill pointed out earlier, you have to have a partner who's on the same page and willing to make the same sacrifices that you want to make.
Yeah, and something else I forgot blossomed out of this. I think the longer we've kind of taken out a distraction, I'm like, what can we add to bring some more excitement to our life? Because I know the TV can be kind of like this neutral, takes up time and space. I don't know if it's necessarily super fun, but it just takes up time and space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what else can we do that will be exciting for Lucille and can take up space, but like quality space and bring quality time back into our days. So Lucille and I started this project that we called Wild Wednesdays, and that blossomed because the TV wasn't here. And so every Wednesday we pick a new area, preferably outside, and we invite friends and see whoever shows up. But it's been this really great little commitment to just like meet up with friends and people we love more consistently, to get out and try and wander around new places and explore. And now it's like this little project that Lucille and I have together just to like make it exciting, like just out of the house, out of our comfort zone, to do something fun and just connect with humans. Cause that is the ultimate goal, I think, is like, we want to have more life skills for all of us. Like we want Lucille to learn in life. And that's kind of the basis of, I feel like, our homeschool is just living our life and learning through it. And I think that makes it so much easier when you're out in the world, like connecting with people and just seeing what unfolds.
Yeah.
So that has been another really great I guess, silver lining from this whole experience. I can't say I regret anything about this experiment.
No.
There's nothing that's been depleted from this at all. I think everything has been a bonus and an add-on to either skills or our relationship, or like, I don't know. There's just nothing I can say negative from this experience.
Yeah, no, I thought for sure that we would have some kind of negative experience from this, but none that I could even begin to even think about. Like, it's just been so positive, and I would say even magical. Like, it's just been a great month, and I guess that kind of leads us to what we're thinking about in the future. But you have one more thing you want to say because you pointed your finger at me.
I just remember Lucille has been going to bed consistently at the same time.
Yes.
And before, she used to
Good
watch
call.
TV. She used to watch TV before bed almost every night. Not every night, but it was at that point at one part in our lives. But now Lucille is like clockwork on going to bed. And it is just like, wow. She was like...
No fight either.
She went
No-
to bed
no
in like
fuss.
a range. It was like between 8 or 9, sometimes between 8 or 9:30. Like the range started getting wider, we noticed. And now it's like, man, Lucille's like clockwork. She's in bed between 7:30 and 8
Yep.
every night since we started doing this. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
I don't either. I don't either.
If you're looking for more consistent bedtimes, then I also recommend doing this, because that has been something that I didn't necessarily expect. And now I'm like, there's some great correlations with this no screen time and then bedtime.
100%. So, Jill, the question is, what does the future hold for the television in the Kaselniak household?
Boy. All right. Well, I have my ideas. I don't know if it matches your ideas, but I would like to keep the TV in our closet most days.
Yes.
And then bring it out once a week for family movie nights.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I'm on the same page. Like, I didn't miss it myself, and it didn't feel like that parenting void, or that time for reprieve. Like, there was, we've worked things out as far as you and I taking like walks in the evening or getting some time to ourselves, but like, we've realized that it's not the tool that we need in order to feel like we need to get stuff done.
That's a great way to put it. I 100% agree. There was plenty of time for me to rest and get time to myself without the television, and I didn't think that was possible. And now that we've done it, I'm like, that's bullshit. You don't need a TV to get a break. And that would have never happened unless we did that. But yeah, so I think we're going to start doing family movie nights, which I'm really excited, because then we all get to be involved in the process and make it more interactive. We can talk about the movie, we can make fun of it, or like, just, I don't know, make it less passive, which I'm excited about. And like take turns where like Lucille gets to pick like a movie, then you get to pick a movie. So I think we all get a chance to kind of, dive into each other's, I don't know, interests. And I think it could be a really fun experience.
I think so too. And we will certainly report back on that, via social media, aka Instagram. We may, I think, are you going to write about it?
I'm thinking about posting a short blog post on my blog. Just to get something in writing.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something to share. Like nothing like super descriptive. I'll probably put a link to this episode to like dive further, but I think I'm going to put like some basic bullets of like what blossomed from this experience, just to share it out there into the web world. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. We highly recommend it if anybody is, thinking about doing this and needs some emotional support or just advice. We're certainly here to help out, answer any questions you may have. But I think, like us, if you do this experiment, you'll be pleasantly surprised by the results.
Yes. We also have another next step that we actually decided. Was it last night or the night before? We canceled our YouTube TV subscription.
Yeah. So now we're down to the bare minimum. So, and that's awesome. I'm excited about that. And, football playoffs are coming up, but I'll figure out a way for that. There's a will, there's a way. But other than that, I mean, I don't watch TV all that much at all. Like, I wasn't even using it. That you were probably using it a little bit more than I was, but I just really wasn't using it. So another $65 bill has gone away now.
I'm so excited to like put that $65 towards like the sauna expense or like towards like a vacation. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like psyched for this. Like, I think that's a good sign when you get excited to like take an added distraction out of your life and also save money. Like, to me, I'm like, this is so cool. But and then that's the cool thing. Like, if we're like, hey, we would really like to have TV for the month of Wednesday, like to have more access to channels, then we'll just get it for the month of, did I say Wednesday?
Right. You said Wednesday, but yeah.
The month of March or something.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, that's the cool thing about this accessibility is that we have it at our fingertips. The hard part is that it's easy to get rid of. Like, I mean, the habit forming process, like that's the hardest part, is just like cutting ties with it. But
just
I
let
think
it go.
I love that. I feel like I'm more in control of like the habits that were consuming me, or maybe more addictive in a way. So it feels good to like take back that power and be like, no, I don't have to have that. I can control that. And it's easier. It's way easier to control it when, for me, it's not in my access,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was a fun experiment.
It was. And the experiment shall continue.
Indeed it shall.
Yeah. Jilly, you got any resources for our listeners today?
Yeah. So I did find a blog post that I will put in the show notes. It was about living without TV and the benefits. And I wanted to read this family's perspective. It's on her blog, joyfullydomestic.com. And I just wanted to read a little bit at the end on what benefits she noticed. Number 1, living without TV benefits. There's more calm, less fighting and bickering between siblings. Now, Lucille doesn't have any siblings, but I can imagine that being a huge win-win. Number 2, we have more focus on things that are important. More time to keep focused on spiritual things, and teaching my littles prayer is easier without useless distractions. And I didn't think about the spiritual side of this too, like having more stillness and quiet. Number 3, my children are becoming more involved in daily tasks and learning new skills. There is legitimate excitement in daily chores. And I know she did talk about how, before she would actually do chores while the kids were watching TV or a movie. And now the kids are excited about being a part of that and learning those rituals. And, Number 4, and although we aren't free of toddler meltdowns, there are definitely fewer opportunities for them to occur.
That is 100% accurate.
Yeah, we're not saying that Lucille doesn't have emotional breakdowns, but there are way fewer now.
Yes.
Number 5, more reading and genuine interest in story time. We didn't even talk about that, but Lucille's been diving into so many more books.
Yeah.
And it's been so cool to see her independently get a book and sit on the couch and just like read it.
Just
flip
look
the
at
pages.
it, read it. We're now getting books from the library that'll read the story to her as well. Yeah. So like, it's just, she's super interested in books now too.
Number 6, quiet time is actually a thing now. That's the next step to seeing like we can devise like a quiet time.
Hell yeah.
Number 7, creativity is being developed. Our children are enjoying more free play and independent learning. Yes. Number 8, more time is spent outdoors. More time to play in the dirt and play in the sandbox and splash in puddles. Basically, more time to enjoy being a kid.
Hell yeah.
Number 9, we have more free time for crafts and structured learning. Whether it's an art craft or a simple coloring, my children are learning something. And number 10, there's a sense of togetherness and bonding. Instead of mom working on cleaning and routine chores alone, I include my children more often. So, I didn't think about the chores aspect that
she's been helping out more often too. Yeah.
So it's
all these things.
It's been so great, y'all. It's been so magical.
Hell yeah. All right, Jilly, you got a quote of the day for us here?
I do.
All right.
The quote of the day, I'm probably sure I quoted him before because I love this quote so much, is by Ralph Waldo Emerson.
I know that guy.
All life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better. So to me, your takeaway would be to experiment with any distraction in your life that may be forming into a habit. Just take it away for 7 days 10 days?
28 days.
28 days? See what happens.
Entire month.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some really cool shit, I'm sure, is going to blossom from it.
You know it. All right. Well, folks, that is going to do it for today's episode. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.